Lasagna. Everyone has their own recipes and there's all sorts of variations, but I'm gonna show you today how to make it the most traditional and simplistic way. Hi, I'm Juan and welcome back to my channel. We're gonna start off by putting a little bit of oil in our Dutch oven. And next, what we have here is 500 grams of pork mince and 750 grams of beef mince. Ideally, you'd like to have a high fat content in it because once it renders down, it produces a much better and deeper flavor. So what I'm doing now is I'm smashing down all the big bits in the mince and cooking down all the water. So I don't want any water left so I can get a better sear once there's only oil remaining in our pan. So after about 10 to 15 minutes, all the water should have been cooked down by now and your mince should look like this. Turn the heat off and we'll set that aside. Next, we're gonna make our sofrito, which consists of 1 medium onion, 1 medium carrot, and 1 stalk of celery, which have been finely diced. Firstly, we're just gonna add a bit of oil back into our Dutch oven. Now add in your vegetables. We're just going to brown them off and until all the vegetables are softened. After about 5 minutes, the vegetables are soft and the onions are translucent. What we're gonna do is add about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Now, it's a very important step to cook out the acidity in the paste. It produces a much sweeter flavor. Cook it off for about 1 or 2 minutes, and then what you're gonna add next to glaze the pan, about half a cup of white wine. Cook and reduce the white wine down to it's virtually nothing, and then once that's completed, add your mince mixture. Combine everything and cook it down for a further 2 minutes. At this point now, this is where I season with salt and pepper. Once everything is all incorporated, we're gonna add now our passata sauce. I have here a 700 gram bowl of passata. Cook that down for a further minute or 2, followed by about a cup of water. Cover with our lid, and we'll let it simmer away for about 4 hours. While that's simmering away, we'll get started on the pasta. Today I'm using about 400 grams of all-purpose flour. So with 400 grams, I'm gonna use 4 eggs. Firstly, I'm gonna start by creating a well in the center. Then we'll crack our eggs into the center. A small pinch of salt. First step you're gonna do is whisk the eggs in the center until everything is combined. Once combined, gradually add in the flour and whisk at the same time. Once your egg mixture holds its shape, it's time to start kneading. Once your dough looks like this and you have too much excess flour, just discard it. Knead the dough for a further 5 minutes until it's nice and smooth. Once that's done, get some Glad wrap and let it rest for 30 minutes. All right, the dough's been rested for about 30 minutes. So what we're gonna do is cut it up into how many layers you're doing your lasagna, and then we'll get it ready to roll it out. Today I'm doing about 6 layers, so I'm gonna do 6 pieces. Before cutting up and rolling it out, you just want to dust your bench with a bit of flour. We're going to start by rolling it with a rolling pin before we use our pasta machine. Next, we're going to use our pasta rolling machine. Look, if you don't have one of these, a rolling pin is fine. I'm just using this for a bit more consistency in the pasta. Before starting off, you'll always want to dust your pasta rolling machine. You don't want anything to stick. We'll start off on our first setting, on our longest setting, just to knead it through. Roll it through a few times. Once it's molded to that shape, we can set it onto our second setting. At any time your pasta feels like it starts sticking, just dust it with a bit of flour. The thickness of pasta is all a personal preference. Because I'm using multiple layers, I'm just going with a nice thin layer. Once all your pasta dough has been rolled out, what we're going to do next is cut them up into the lengths of our lasagna dish. The sheets here aren't wide enough for a singular sheet, so what we're going to use is 2 sheets per layer. To cook the pasta, we just need a big pot of water. We're going to use a generous helping of salt to salt the water. Once that's come up to a boil, we're just going to add our pasta sheets in. Now these won't take very long to cook. They should only take about 30 seconds. We want them slightly under because they are still going to go into the oven. After about 30 seconds, take them out, put them in some ice water to prevent it from further cooking, and let it dry out on a tea towel. Now repeat this step until all the pasta is cooked. We're going to make our bechamel sauce next. So I'm using about 500 mils of milk. So the general rule of thumb is for every 100 mils, you use 10 grams of butter and 10 grams of flour. So firstly, 50 grams of butter, followed by 50 grams of flour. Give that a quick mix. Once the flour and butter has all been incorporated, gradually add in your milk. Whisk as you go. You'll start seeing the milk being all incorporated in the flour and start to become a thick paste. As it's gradually getting thicker, slowly add in your milk. Just before finishing it off, we'll have to season with a bit of salt. Once your bechamel looks like this, your lasagna is ready to be assembled. 4 hours has passed. You can see the sauce has a nice thick consistency. A lot of the water has been simmered down, which is perfect. You don't want a watery mess for your lasagna. There is one last piece of the puzzle. What we need to do is add in some milk. About 2 tablespoons, just to give it a nice creaminess to it. Once you've seasoned it to your liking, just set it aside, let it cool down for a bit. Now it's time to assemble. So firstly, what we're going to use is for our base layer, we're just going to use a small amount of our meat mixture, just so the first layer of the lasagna sheets won't stick to the pan. Our next layer, what we're going to use is our pasta sheets. We're just going to lay it flat down here. I'm going to have to cut them to suit the shape of the lasagna dish. Our next step we're going to use is another ladle of our meat sauce. Because we are having 6 layers in this lasagna, you don't want to use too much sauce and bechamel per layer. Our next layer is our bechamel sauce. Our next layer will be our pasta sheet. And we'll repeat these steps another 5 times. For the last layer, we'll use the remaining of our meat sauce, followed by the rest of our bechamel sauce. Spread it out evenly, and 200 grams of shredded cheese. Spread it out evenly. Now into the oven for 25 minutes. So after 25 minutes, your lasagna should look like this. Cheese perfectly golden and crispy. A very important step is to let the lasagna rest for about 20-25 minutes. You want the lasagna to hold its shape and to see each individual layer. So the longer you rest it, the better it is. 20 minutes has passed. We'll cut it open. We'll see what it looks like. All right, let's pull it out and see what it looks like. Perfect individual layers. All right, let's plate this up and give it a taste. And there we have it, lasagna. Perfect, simple, classic, traditional. Time for the taste test.